So there's nothing wrong with owning some Bitcoin. I think it's like owning a building. It goes up in value. Everybody calls me the mean shark, but I'm just telling the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, the real world's going to bite your ass anyways.
Yeah.
When you leave the Shark Tank, if your deal sucks, it sucks. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to deal with failure. I said that at the beginning when we started talking.
Yeah.
That's what matters. The dead bird under the nest never learns how to fly. If you guarantee them a free ride and they never have to take any risks, they won't. At this conference that we're all at here in Miami, Crypto Bitcoin 2022, for the first time on the first day, I looked out in the audience. It was all the giant institutional investors. They've never come to this conference, never. And I started asking, guys, what are you doing here? And they're saying, we sense the world's changing. We see the policy coming. We see these senators showing up here. We know they're going to make this thing investable. It's going to be huge. And I think the best way to look at Bitcoin is not a coin, it's software. Ethereum software, Solana software, Helium software, Polygon is software. They're software development teams. Either believe in what they're doing or you don't. If you like what they're doing, I like what the guys are doing at Polygon. They're reducing gas fees by aggregating transactions. Why wouldn't I put some dough into that? Yeah. It makes sense to me. And so I met the team over in Dubai. I said, guys, I got to get a piece of this. And so I'm investing privately in these things. I'm an investor in FTX. I have to disclose I'm a paid spokesperson for FTX as well, along with Tom Brady. That's a good crew to be with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's fun. And I believe in what they're doing. And so to me, this is the 12th sector of the S&P. We just don't know it yet. And in 10 years, we're going to wake up and say, wow, we have 11 sectors, now we have 12. It's so big part of it's such a big part of the economy. I think really what's going on here is it's just making the economy more efficient. And now the government's figured that out. When you can be more transparent, faster, cheaper, I mean, that's a good thing. And that's really what's going on. Talk about crypto. It's really making financial services and investing easier and more transparent. So, there's nothing wrong with owning some Bitcoin. I think it's like owning a building. It goes up in value. So the number one exit was a deal called Plated. Okay. Two guys from New York City started meal kits. Remember that whole thing where a meal comes to your door every day and then you cook it? Yeah. That whole idea.
Blue Apron.
Blue Apron was the big guy at the time.
Got it.
So what happened was the grocers started to see this trend occurring, and they saw that Whole Foods was bought by Amazon, and they went, oh no. So Albertson approached us at Plated and said, we'd like to buy you. They bought it for $340 million. That was a Shark Tank deal. It was only 36 months old, and it had grown dramatically. And so that was the biggest exit in Shark Tank history. And that paid for a lot of my mistakes on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
But there are deals now on Shark Tank, and there's one being negotiated right now. I can't announce it yet. It's actually one run by a woman that's going to be the largest individual winner, because I own a small fraction of the business and she owns the rest of it. It's an extraordinary outcome. And she built something incredible. And of course, we're going to track it on Shark Tank. Shark Tank knows about it, but the deal hasn't been announced yet. We're getting $100 million deals all the time now on Shark Tank. Everybody calls me the mean shark, but I'm just telling the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, the real world's going to bite your ass anyways.
Yeah.
When you leave the Shark Tank, if your deal sucks, it sucks. And the reason it sucks, it's a bad idea. And I'm the only shark that'll tell you, your idea sucks, it has no merit, you're going to go bankrupt, you're going to lose all your money, and now you're going to cry? Like, I'm your best friend. I just saved you. And, some people can't handle it. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to deal with failure. I said that at the beginning when we started talking. Yeah. That's what matters. My mother taught me something. If you ever disrespect money, you won't have any. It's karma. Every dollar I make, I kill myself to make it, and I don't want to lose it. I cry like a baby when I lose $10. Like the other day, I realized I forgot when I flew back from Dubai that I didn't have my frequent flyer number on that ticket, and I lost like $400. So I spent 2 hours calling the airline saying, I want my ticket back. I want my ticket back. I'm crazy that way. I want value. And I want to respect what my mother taught me about this, that every single dollar is hard to make. And if you don't respect it, you're going to lose it. I don't waste money. I don't do stupid things. Like when I buy a watch, I'm buying it because I think it's going to appreciate in value. Yeah. And it does.
Yeah.
I don't waste my dough on crap. That's the way I look at it. when I was graduating college, my mother came to the graduation. She said, I've got great news. I'm coming to the graduation. But I also have some other news, no more checks. And I said, what do you mean? Because she'd been paying for college and my rent and everything. And she said, the dead bird under the nest never learns how to fly. I said, what the hell does that mean? She said, no more checks. I'm not writing any more checks. You're going to have to figure this out on your own. I paid for your education I paid for your birth, the last day of college, we're done. And I thought, shit. I mean, because I really had no job or anything. And I had a tough couple of years. I mean, I couldn't even pay the rent, but it worked out and I got motivated. And, obviously I'm pretty happy about the outcome. So when I had my first big liquidity event, when the learning company got sold, it got sold for about $4.2 billion. And there was 10 of us that were founders. So we woke up the next morning and said, shit, we're rich. Like, we didn't even think about it. We came back to work and kept going. But when I went over, that was in Cambridge, and I went over to Boston and saw the lawyers and said, look, I want to set up a trust that basically provides for my kids, because they were like 4 and 6 at the time. And it pays for everything for them until they finish college. And then they get nothing. And he said, what the hell is that? I said, well, it's a way that I can provide for them to set them up in life, but not entitle them. I told my wife I was going to do this, and I sat down with my 2 kids and I said, here's how this trust works, and everything's good until, even if I get run over by a truck, you're good till you finish college. And they went, yeah, that's great, Dad. Didn't give a shit about it. Years later, we're still in Boston, and my son is doing really poorly in high school. He is sucking and just not applying himself, and his marks are terrible. And the way to look at high school is it's just like a test to get into college. You got to pass a few things. And so one day he says to me, I'll never forget this conversation. Lynn and I were going out to a movie that night, and he says, hey, Dad, one of my friends was telling me about his trust fund. And what does my trust fund look like? And I said, well, I don't know about your friend's fund, but here's how yours works. If Mom and I get run over by a truck, you're good until you finish high school, because it doesn't look like you're going to college. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, the trust only pays till you finish college. Then it's done. He says, what do you mean it's done? I said, it means no more checks. And I said to him, the dead bird under the nest never learns how to fly. And he said, what the fuck does that mean? And I said, what it means is you should start thinking about taking advantage of this now, because you're not, and you're not, I don't know what's going to happen to you. You're not even going to finish high school here. And I think at that moment that the lesson of life, given to me by my mother, he saw the abyss. He saw the darkness. He saw the situation he was in and went, shit, this is bad. If you guarantee them a free ride and they never have to take any risks, they won't. Yeah. And you'll destroy their lives. It's the worst curse you could do. Yep. Everybody knows people that have really screwed up rich kids. And they made that mistake. They just made it too easy for them. It's not going to happen in my family. And my trust goes, multi-generations. When he has kids, even if they're not married, he takes care of them till right at the end of college.